Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for listening. Welcome to another edition of the Beauty in Us Radio, right here on Awesome Guide Radio. I am your host, Nelson E. Brown, and today is September 7th, 2021. I'm so glad you guys had an opportunity to visit me this evening. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus for the past couple of weeks. The new semester has started for school. This is my last year of college, praise God. And I've had the opportunity to just take a break for the past couple of weeks and um, prepare myself for many of the shifts that are about to take place throughout the course of the year. And it's still very, very difficult for me to believe that tomorrow, technically it's tomorrow, but today I'm celebrating exactly 1 year of being on the air with Awesome Guide Radio. And the journey has been really, really amazing because I've met so many people throughout the course of the year, and I've had so many thought-provoking conversations with people about everything, whether it's about mental health, whether it's about toxic masculinity, whether it's about physical health and wellness, whether it's about child abuse. I've had community leaders on my show, and everybody on my show, um, all types of people on my show from all different backgrounds, from different walks of life, who've shared their talents and their gifts with this show and on this platform. So I decided to do another host to host special for the first half of the show so that we can all have an idea of what to expect moving forward this fall. A lot of people are coming back from their summer vacations. A lot of people have been very, very eager to spend time with their families throughout the course of the summer. And a lot of the kids are going back to school for the first time in approximately like 18 months or so from being in the virtual environment. We're all still under restrictions and we're still doing things virtually. But I wanted to take the opportunity for the first half of the show to thank everybody for their support, not just for Awesome God Radio, but for each and every one of us individually, because we all grow in the process. We've all had the privilege of sharing our gifts on this platform, and we've all had the opportunity to share what's on our heart each and every week. Because a lot of people don't understand that running a show, hosting a show is not easy. Creating content each week for a show is not easy. So it's just been a blessing for all of us. And I have brought to the show with us for our host to host special, Ms. Kat Wilson from the Chat with Kat show. And she's going to have a conversation with us about her show and what you can expect from her show this fall. And we're both going to have a conversation about what to expect moving forward this fall. Because again, we're all coming back from a hiatus and we are all trying to get situated, for this fall season. We're about to make that shift, that transition between seasons. So it's great that we have an opportunity to talk about that for the first half. Now, for the second half of the show, we're going to have a conversation about family and friends and what it means to build healthy relationships and what it means to maintain healthy relationships. So, Ms. Kat Wilson, thank you again for joining me for another edition of the Beauty in Us Radio, right here on Awesome Guide Radio. It's great to talk to you again. How have you been feeling?
Hey, I've been great. I want to thank you first and foremost for look sending out the invite. And look and me answering. I'm just excited to be here, and I thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. Thank you so much. I look forward to the discussion as well.
Yes. So I definitely wanted to jump right into the topic for tonight for the first half of the show. I know that Chat with Kat, from my understanding, I've watched, the show several times. So it airs every Monday at 6 p.m., right?
Yes, every
Okay.
Monday at 6. And these last two Mondays, I have been off. I'm still celebrating my birthday. Um, and then yesterday was the holiday. So I, took the day down, took the day down. But actually, I was out of town this weekend, and just came back late yesterday. So, yeah, just coming back myself. And like today, you saw me. I just feel like when you don't when you don't do it as often as you were, to me, like, I'm all fumbling. You guys should have saw me. I'm like, my camera is swiveling around, and oh my god. So my first show begins next Monday, and I'm so excited about that. For the new season, it begins next Monday on the 13th, September 13th at 6 p.m. So join us, you guys, on Chat with Kat and Friends. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I know that I mentioned a few minutes ago that it's been a year since I started my show with Awesome God Radio, and I've built a bond with the Awesome Guy Radio family. What inspired you to start your radio show, Chat with Kat? Like, where did the idea? Because I first met you a couple of years ago on the Good Life Gospel Show, but now
Yeah.
you've had the privilege of branching out on your own and hosting your own show. So
Yeah.
what drove you to do that?
Yes, and before I move on, great big shout out to the Good Life Gospel Show, and we are starting up anew again, and can't wait for that for us to begin again, because we've been, we all just love summertime, and just taking our time doing what it is that we do, having leisure time, also working, but having that leisure weekend time. And Good Life Gospel Show is every Saturday morning, 9 to 11. So much needed family time was spent, and it's still being spent. But what steered me into Chat with Kat was just there was so much. I'm all about wellness and inspiration and all of those things. Largely everyone that I'm attached to is about the same, and I just care about people's well-being, how they feel on the inside, what's going on in your mind, and just having to battle with my own self concerning not feeling good enough, or just looking at things and seeing how things affect me internally and emotionally. And as being a social worker, that's what I do, and that's just who I am. There was so much, for lack of a better word, I'll say degradation to our people, brown people, our wonderful, especially our males, but our wonderful brown culture. I just felt like I just wanted to come on, and I know I'm not the only one, but I wanted to just give a platform just to shout out and highlight all of the great things that we're doing, the businesses that are starting, the new organizations that are starting or have been enacted, or that have been open and running. Just let people know that you have a place. People are still doing things, yet these things are happening. And it's troublesome. It's troublesome to the heart and to the soul. It had kept me paralyzed. I don't, to see imagery and to hear and to know personally, feel the affliction of others, it's just traumatizing in so many different ways, on so many different levels. And I felt like I just want to have a show that just highlights and spotlights. And I think we all, in some sort of way, do that. But I wanted to have a platform that just spotlighted businesses, growing businesses, organizations, people, individuals out there doing the work, in the streets, touching hearts, touching people, and truly making a difference. So that's where Chat with Kat and Friends came from. And I've added a wellness network because I want us to feel like a family. We're a network, and we're helping to keep each other well. We're helping to encourage one another, inspire one another, strengthen one another in every way that we can. And whether you know it or not, your story inspires someone. Every story inspires and encourages me in some way, and your story inspires and encourages someone in some way, shape, or form. So it's just trying to give, um and by all means, I don't have to validate you for what you do, but um showing an appreciation. It's an extended appreciation to let you know that I see you, and I love what you do. I love to talk to you. I love for you to share it with everybody else, and it means something. What you do means something. The products that you make, how you make them, why you make them, all of that means something. So that's what Chat with Kat is all about. Is like just touching and agreeing in so many ways on the health and wellness, the beauty, the everything, the entrepreneurship of us, the mental health and stamina of us. It's just so important. So that's what Chat with Kat is all about. And I did say a whole lot. I hope I didn't lose anybody, but I'm very passionate about that. And that's where exactly where it came from. Just all of the stuff I was seeing, and it was right off of, well, not right off of, but I did the devotional Surrender to Love, which was so hard during the time, but I was ushered into that. I was ushered into that. God said, this is what I just had to do it. And it was so rough and so hard. And just out of that, I believe, it just it was a segue and gave me permission. Sometimes you got to give yourself permission to do things because you stop yourself. We put up these barriers our own self, but I won't carry on anymore. But that's where Chat with Kat came from. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Yes, absolutely, and it's very astonishing, and it's very great to be proud of the impact that all of our shows, in addition to your own, all of our shows have on the people who listen to them, because oftentimes we really don't understand how powerful our voices are until we see the way we change people's perspectives and until we see the way we change people's lives. And oftentimes, I can definitely speak for myself. For hosts, we can definitely be hard on ourselves sometimes when we're trying to create content every week, and when we're trying to, make our shows the most influential shows that we can, so that we can convey that message to that audience that we're trying to reach. So, what's been the most challenging part about having your platform and having your own show? Because again, a lot of people don't understand the work that goes into creating content every week and running a show every week. A lot of people just think that they should just get a camera and they just get online, or they just get on a platform and then they just talk about stuff, but they need some stuff with substance in order to draw a certain audience. They need to talk about things that really matter and things that are really critical to the well-being of others, because that's what people really want to hear, and that's what people really want to learn about. So what has been the most challenging aspect of being a radio show personality and running your own show?
Wow, I will say, and there are more than one, but I'll say one of them is just when you're starting out, you're compassionate and you're compelled to do something, talk about something, or have this soapbox that you stand on. What One of my challenges was um getting my mind out of, because I love it so much, I don't need to find this out and find that out. There it is. It's still me, right? I had to learn along the way. You still need to do some research. You still have to find things out. And that was something that, wow, that came by trial and error in front of live audiences. In front of live audiences, mind you. And then that's the other challenge is, we're live like we are right now. Things could happen. My internet is all over the place sometimes, or whatever. These things happen. So just learning how to roll with the punches, and it's like, what in the world is going on? But just keep going. So the greatest challenge to me, I would have to say, is technical difficulty. But I'm praying and hoping that and what I take away from each time that happens, I'm like, well, at least somebody knows that they can still keep going. Because I think maybe, I don't know, maybe once I've had to, like, shut it down and we didn't resume. And I think after that, that was the one and only time. And I was like, from now on, because you have to plan. Planning, you guys, is so important. You have to plan, and you even have to plan for and sometimes people don't want to think about the things that could go wrong because they feel like it's inviting things. But that's not what you're doing. You're planning because these things might be out of your control. So you want to have a backup plan. So I learned to have a backup plan for this, a backup plan for that. And if this happens, and I put it in my little email, when I email my link, I'm like, do this if this happens. If this doesn't happen, we're going to go here. So I'm like, okay, so it's taught me to plan a lot, and it's taught me to ask for what I need of people. Everyone is pretty respectful of everyone else. Sometimes you'll feel like within yourself that, oh, it doesn't mean anything. Nobody's gonna say this or whatever. And you raised a great point. You just don't even know. There are so many people that have like shouted me out or contacted me like, I saw your show today and blah 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 blah. Not thousands. Not to say that, but people you don't know. And it will be the shows that you feel like, man, nobody saw that, or nobody. It will be those shows that people reach out to you and say, man, I needed to hear that. Or, I'm so glad that you talked about that. Or I'm so glad you showed that because I was looking for somebody. And I'm like, wow. So that's what helps to keep me going as well. I may have covered one of your other questions. I'm sorry. But one of the most challenging things would have to be this virtual aspect, getting back to that, your original question, this virtual aspect and going live. Oh my gosh, the technical issues that go on. But what I've learned, to caveat, is to keep on going and to make a plan about it. I can't do anything, but I can plan. I can plan my way around it, and I'm going to work it out. I'm going to work it out.
Yes, absolutely. And I can definitely relate to that too, because I've had instances where I've had to reschedule shows, or I've had to book guests for future shows because my schedule wouldn't permit me to have them on for one edition or one broadcast. So I definitely understand the process of planning for each and every show, because it's not simple, and it can often leave you feeling frustrated at that time. But once you're able to regroup, and once you're able to refocus your mind and figure out how to move forward, you feel much better about it once you're able to do that. So it's great to have a backup plan as a radio show host and as a radio personality. And again, people will understand that most of the time, and people don't judge you for it. People are more concerned about what you have to share from your heart, and what kind of content that you're presenting, rather than your mix-ups or your mistakes. So yeah, we can sometimes like it has been said, we can sometimes be our worst critics, and sometimes we can be perfectionists in a way, and we can be very extremely hard on ourselves. But as long as we go into it, every single broadcast, with a clear mind and a clear heart, and with a new perspective that's going to change the lives of others for the better, that's all that matters. So how is hosting Chat with Kat, how has that made you a better person in your personal life, in terms of, do you see growth in yourself as you have as you've been hosting this show on this platform? So do you see growth within yourself, not just as a radio personality, but just as a person in general?
Yes, I will say yes. Just because I find myself like just speaking to people differently, like with an inquisitive mind, wanted to know, especially if they tell me they do something, or they're involved in something, or they know somebody. I'm like just finding these ways to. I've gained much more confidence, and I'm so thankful for that, um because you're in front of the camera doesn't mean that you have the greatest confidence in yourself. You have the confidence for what you're doing, so to speak, in some aspects, right? and not all. So in speaking with people, I've found that I have grown in I am a people person and a personable person. I've never had a problem really talking to people, but with the host part added to it, I'm much more inquisitive and inclined to say, so, hey, I do this, and I become like more responsible with my own self, with my own, in my own skin of what it is that I'm doing. And you grow into that. So, anybody out there that's like feeling like they want to do something like this, you have, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be a radio show, but a product or services that you grow into your confidence of that. Look, your gift makes room for you. That's what the Bible tells us. And it certainly does. It does make room for you once you start going in the vein of it. Things, not only the doors that start opening aren't only doors of opportunity to people, but doors to yourself start opening, and you start getting a clearer picture, and you start looking and receiving your own self differently. Those are some of the doors that are open. It's not always doors to finances or doors to this and that. All those are great, but the other doors that are open are the barriers that you've closed yourself off to, like thinking that you can't and you won't, or you'll only measure so much, so high, or your measurement against someone else. Those things change, and I'm so thankful to God for those things. So those are some of the things that has changed within me personally, is those doors internally that have opened, which help me to be able to reach out and maybe talk to other people, or venture into conversations concerning maybe something that I saw. I'm not, yeah, it's helped me a whole lot to grow in that manner, and I'm so thankful for that. Thank you for that. Was a great question. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. And again, it makes sense because, it's not just about, what you do as a radio show personality. It's also about recognizing the growth within yourself in the process. Because you're supposed to see growth within yourself within each and every broadcast, because you learn a lot from having, guests on your show. And when you listen to people and when you listen to their insight, it helps you learn about things that you probably would have never thought of, um, anywhere else or from anyone else. So it's really, really great for people to keep an open mind and an open heart, and for their spirit to be in the right place when they are coming onto a platform like this, where they can share what's on their heart, what God lays on their heart each and every week. And again, the growth within yourself means that you are using your gifts in order to help others, but not just enriching yourself in the process, because it's not about us. It's about lifting other people up in the process. Oftentimes people jump into things, they jump into dreams, or they jump into endeavors only trying to fulfill their needs or their wants or their desires, and that's not what it's about. It's about uplifting others in the process as well, and not just fulfilling the needs within you or the wants that you have. So that's really, really, yes.
I'm sorry. Can I just say something to that, to what you just said? That is very key, because also starting out, you'll find sometimes that's what I'll say with me. That's what I think I was trying to fill a need to still remain social, because we couldn't, it was, we had to stay in. So I was like, I needed to find a way to feel like I was still connecting to people. I personally, that's just the way that I'm made. I have to connect to people, and I have to not so much feel like I'm making a difference, but I have to connect to people in order to feel like, to give me more life. I'm encouraged by you. I'm encouraged by others and inspired by others. So that means a great deal to me. So that kind of helped push me into that as well. And like I said, surrender to love. God helped me with that for this. I believe He helped me with that so that I could do this, so that I could still feel connected. Because man, when I wasn't when I wasn't, I was kind of like, man, what am I here? I was questioning, what am I here for? What am I supposed to do? Da 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 da. All of these things when I'm not doing what I feel like I should be doing in my heart of hearts, or what I'm made to do, and that's to be a social worker, to be connecting with people, to be connecting people with resources, to help people with their emotional selves and all of these different things. And that's what helped me. So even when you like you said, the reason why may start out one way, but you'll come to learn and grow prayerfully with grace. You'll gracefully grow into the openness of your heart and your mind as to what God will have for you in that space. It's not so self-centered or so much steeped in justifying your own self, So that's great. Just wanted to caveat off of that really quickly.
And yes, and that is really important to note. And I think that the coronavirus pandemic and everything that we've been through for the past 18 months or so, I think that it's definitely been a humbling experience. I know for me, it definitely has been, because a lot of us had to grow and maneuver our ways outside of our comfort zones, and to open up and to think about things differently, a new way of life, a new way of doing things. Like even when I started my show last year, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and I didn't have the privilege of going to the studio and having, that, one-on-one with people. But it was more convenient that way, because I've had the opportunity to speak to guests that were not in Maryland, that did not live in Maryland, or who are not from the Baltimore area. Some of them have been in other countries, and some of them have been in other states. So again, it's definitely, I think the COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to think differently, and to get outside of our comfort zones, and to get out of our own way in order to open up to a new way of thinking and a new way of living. So what has the COVID-19 pandemic taught you throughout the course of your time, speaking to people who are still making moves in spite of all of the obstacles that we've all faced throughout the pandemic? What has the pandemic taught you in terms of how you live your life, this new way of living, and this new way of being, in a way?
Wow, that's a great question, and it's still teaching me, but all the while it's just teaching me God's grace, and how wonderful and awesome he is in all of this, because he's kept me, he's kept my family, and he's keeping others too, even through the ups and downs. And we've had ups and downs too, even through the deaths, even through the illness, even through all the sorrows and the traumas of it all. It just has helped more so than not, to just solidify how great, how absolutely great, powerful, and wonderful he is. It's also taught me, because it does, and at times leave me thinking, having questions like, why, or what is it for? And I find myself saying exactly that, like, oh Lord, I don't understand, I don't understand this, and being downright angry and upset about some things. But I don't have to understand everything. God knows, and he does absolutely care. So it's helped me to lean on that more so than anything else. And it's helped me to understand and know that I can get through anything. We as people can make it through anything. We can do anything. It's helped me to just be a believer that I can do anything, whatever it is that he's placed in me, or that I'm thinking, that as long as it's not doing anything to anybody damaging or whatever, he will bless it. He's like, I'll bless you when you come and when you go. And when you think about it, I don't know where I'm going all the time, or sometimes I don't like where I've been. He's still blessing you. So I don't exactly have to know, no, not exactly. I just have to know him. Knowing him plugs you into knowing other things. It opens those doors and those windows. So it's just garnered me some greater trust in him. Even through, there has been much hardship, there has been much pain, much, suffering and all of those things. But it's taught me to lean on him more, and also connect. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next half, but connecting with people, talking to people, especially your family and friends and all of those things, it's just helped me to know that it's so vital and it's so important. And one more thing, if I can, it's also helped me to understand that I am important too. I am important enough. I talk about wellness all the time. I talk about, emotional wellness and all of these things all the time. But I need to be well too. It's helped me to take a really strong look at my own wellness and my own perceptions of myself. And it's helped to build me up. Especially in places where people feel like they want to pull away or whatever. He's built me up in those places. So it's taught me a lot, right? It's taught me a lot.
Yes, yes, it has taught you a lot, and that's a good thing because I definitely feel like this pandemic was supposed to teach us how important it is to maintain that love and those connections that we have with family members and friends. And it also, as we make this transition in our show, as we talk about family and friends and what it means, what it looks like, and what it means to maintain those healthy relationships and those bonds, I think that the pandemic has taught us how important it is to maintain those connections and to maintain that love with others, and how important it is to develop relationships with others and not be so distant, even though we were all forced to remain socially distanced from one another throughout the course of the 18 months. Some of us haven't seen each other. Some of us haven't spoken to each other in person. And some people, unfortunately, um, I know that I did a lot of research. A lot of the suicide rates have skyrocketed. A lot of the divorce rates have skyrocketed. There's much more child abuse and domestic abuse that has gone on behind closed doors throughout the course of the pandemic. And I think that it's important for all of us to understand that everybody's not happy with being so confined and being under all of these restrictions. Some people can't tolerate it. It's very hard for people to not have love in their life and to not feel connected to people. And I think that the pandemic has taught us that. And I also think that the pandemic has exposed a lot of things, and not just things in terms of situations, but people in the process. So it's definitely something that people should really consider and really think about carefully, because you never really know when you're going to need people. I know that a lot of people are going through tough times right now, because a lot of people have experienced financial hardship. A lot of people have lost loved ones. I mean, everybody who knows, earlier this year, I lost my father, earlier this year. And a lot of people have been going through a lot of things, whether it's financial hardship, whether it's deaths. Some people have lost, a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of kids have fallen behind on their education. So we're all going through tough times. We're all in a position where we're going to need others, regardless if we want to or not, or if we think about it or not. We are all in a position where we need to be connected and we need to feel connected. So, so what are some of the things that you learned about in terms of family and friends and feeling connected and feeling loved? What does that look like, and what has it looked like to you throughout the course of the pandemic?
Oh wow, it has been so important. But um I will say this, for what it has helped me do also is not to feel so I Katrina, I have had a there's been a personal barrier with me to personalize so many things. I'm so glad that I've grown out of that. for the most part, for the most part. But not being able to reach some people sometimes, or all the reach some people all the time, or whatever, used to be so troubling to me, especially during this time, because it is so hard. Because everybody in some way, shape, or form is facing some kind of trauma, something that's impacting their lives in such a way that it hurts, whether you can see it physically or have you. So it's so important to reach out to people. It's so important if you are in need of being connected to, connect. Sometimes I know me, myself, I would need other people. And if in a way it was like I was waiting, and it's like, why don't you call them? So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. It can be reciprocated. So because everybody isn't on everybody else's mind all the time. So if you're that one out there who is waiting for someone to call you because you haven't talked to them in so long, or you see things, call them. It's not. I know for me, in my mind, I'd be like, oh, they don't want to talk to me because blah, blah, blah. I'd be thinking this myself. He doesn't want to, not even he, because guys don't, most guys, I'll say most guys, not all guys, some guys don't think like that. But me, as a woman, I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not calling. We haven't talked since such and such and such. Now, some people you have that rapport with, but some people, and then you see them, and they're like, oh my gosh, she called me, and it's like, time passes, time goes. That's one thing. Look, I'm going to go back to your other question. That's one thing. Time is so important. It's so important to be, to use your time wisely, and to do the things that's on your mind at the time that they're on your mind. Because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. It's not promised to the pastor. It's not promised to the deacon. It's not promised to any one of us. It's not any one of the parishioners. Nobody. Time is the next day is not promised to you. So what it is that you have to do, you need to do it. That is one of man. Look, that's going to be number one. Strike. Look, the other answer, that will be number two. This is number one. Whatever you have to do, it, because you don't know. God has not, he promises to be with you. So it's a win-win whether I'm here or whether I'm with him. But if it's stuff that I need to do while I'm here, I need to get it done. That's one thing that, man, getting in touch with people is just so vitally important to me. There are some that I'm still like, oh, I need to call them. Oh, I need to touch base with her because I haven't talked to her, So it's, just do your best. Do your best reaching out to people, and reach and not wait for people to reach out to you. Connect to people. No, nobody cares how long. So, and if they do, oh well, you know what? Your conversation should be it's meaningful when you talk to them, even if you haven't talked to them in 2 years, 3 years, or what have you. Just do it. Just make the, you know. Oh, I think that's some of what God has for us to learn is, you don't know what I'm going to do. Stop trying to, just do what your heart is having you to do. If you want to reach out to this person, so what, you haven't talked to them in so long. That's what I've learned. And I've also learned to let some things go. But reaching out to people is very important. I recommend that we just keep on loving on each other, keep on encouraging one another, keep on inspiring each other, because we need each other. We need each other. As much as you're big, bad, independent, and all of these things, you still need whoever it is that you need, And just like you need them, they need you too. They need you as well. Be encouraged to reach out.
Yes, reaching out is very important, and you brought us some excellent points about what it means to stay connected and feel connected and be connected to others, especially during these difficult times. And I mentioned it before, and all of the people who watched my broadcasts and who've watched my shows, they know that my father passed away earlier this year. And that has definitely made me look at things a whole lot differently. And that's definitely made me think about how it is to maintain healthy relationships and how important it is to develop those bonds with others. And it's also taught me um, how to um, how to grow and mature and to prosper in different areas of my life, and how to let insecurities that I used to have in the past go about myself and about
Right.
my ability to do great things, not just from a professional standpoint, but also on a personal note. And it's just it was such an overwhelming experience. Having a parent pass away at such a young age, it's very, very. If anybody's ever experienced it, who's listening, you understand that it's very overwhelming to go through so many emotions and to handle grief. I'm in therapy sessions once a week. I'm still trying to grieve, and I'm still trying to put myself back together after that, because this happened at the very beginning of the year, back in January on the 23rd, and it will change. It will forever, my life will forever be changed by it. It's something, again, like I said, I didn't expect, because at such a young age, just just having to deal with the grief and the loss, um, of my father, um, and even, like, it's just made me look at things differently, and it makes me it's I've matured, I can say, very much since that. And that, like I said, that's definitely made me look at things a whole lot differently, in terms of how important it is to maintain relationships, and um, what it means to let someone know how much you love them, and how to let go of the past and things that you can no longer control, and things um, that are not really important as much as you think they are, because like I said, I've let a lot of insecurities go. I've had, I've forgiven, not only him, but a lot of people for a lot of things, that they've done to me in the past. This pandemic has taught me how important it is to let go of the things that don't matter, and how to focus on what does matter. And that's family and friends and the people who love and care about you. And choosing to focus on that is more important than choosing to focus on the negative, and to focus on the things that are not working out. Instead, focusing on something that's positive, and focusing on something that fulfills you and that makes you feel good about yourself. And, again, having that rapport with others, and um, watching them, and, letting them know how much you love and care about them, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life wondering whether or not someone loves or cares about you if you don't say that to them, and if you don't show them. So I think that's my passing of my dad has definitely made me look at life that way. And I've also learned how to let some people go as well, some friendships go as well. I've let go of several friendships, and several relationships throughout the course of the pandemic as well, because I realized that people weren't supporting me, and uplifting me like I wanted to be supported and uplifted. I feel like a friendship, a relationship is a two-way street, and I feel like I was supporting them more than they were supporting me. It wasn't really reciprocated, and it wasn't really appreciated. So that's why I've let some friendships go and some relationships go throughout the course of the pandemic, and I've developed new ones. I think that sometimes we hold on to things that are meant to be broken and that are meant to be torn apart, but we can't make space for new relationships unless we let go of old ones. So that's what I've learned how to do in the process as well, because there are some people that are in your life for a season, and they are only supposed to take you to a certain point in your life. But at some point, God slowly removes them from your circle. He removes them from your life. Sometimes you may not understand how important that is at the time. Sometimes it is hurtful and sometimes it is painful, but sometimes you just have to let people go, and sometimes you just have to let relationships go. And I've learned how to do that, especially since I've shared dreams with some people who didn't really understand them and that weren't really open to them and who weren't willing to support me like I wanted to be supported. And it was just time for me to just let go and to open myself up to new things and to new people, and I have. So that's what I'm grateful for, and that's what I don't have any regrets about, because I know that I treated people with respect, and I continue to treat people with respect, and I do my best to, you know, to you know support people and give them that same courtesy and give them that same level of respect. So that's what I feel good about, and that's what I'm at peace with. I'm not sure if you've had the same experience or not, but uh, what what has it been like throughout the course of the pandemic? Do you feel like your relationships have been tested throughout the process? Do you feel like you've had to let some people go, or have you developed new relationships, or what does that look like for you?
Well, for me, it's a little different. I would say, because I've let go of, I haven't let people go, but I've let go of feeling like I needed that without them, I couldn't do or be, that I needed that validation. I've let go of other people's validation. So I have let some things go and some people go. Um, just through because I care more about me. I care more about um what that relationship was doing to me. I needed to let it go. I was yeah. So I needed to let it go. Because you can't change people. You can't change people and you can't make anybody do you can't change people. So the only thing I could do is change my perspective. So I'm thankful to God that we have our own minds and we can think. And even without, conflicting harsh conversation or anything like that, it's an internal thing. It's an internal thing for me, and it may be for you guys too. I'm not sure, but I had to let go of not so much people, but in doing so, it may have let some people go because I'm not tied to the fact that I need this from you or that from you, or you need this from me or that from me. And that's not what a relationship should be anyway. You shouldn't be in need of this or that from anybody else. So, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Hopefully I am clear, but I've let go my feeling toward needing or wanting or all of these things that may be tied to somebody or people. That's what has been let go. And in letting that go, that may be letting go of some people. If that's the case, then that's the case. But I've let go needing to have you be what I need you to be because you aren't. And, and looking at you're actually hurtful because I'm the only one trying to do, X, Y, Z when, it's supposed to be, yeah, we're in this together. And speaking on friendships, whatever relationship that is. But that's what I can say. I don't know if it was just during this time. It's not specifically pandemic driven or anything like that. It's just growth driven, I think. Growth driven and confidence building, confidence building, and so much as knowing who you are and where you stand, what you need, because I don't need anything from anybody. That's the place where I am now. I'm at a place where I don't need anything from anybody. Right. I love everybody, but I do understand that everybody doesn't love the same. Everybody, so I don't have an expectation for people to, you know, love me the same way that I love them. I don't have that expectation. Well, whether that's right or wrong, you will have your own perspective on that, but I don't have the same perspective. I understand, I have I don't know, a great big understanding for if you don't, because things happen in your life, this or whatever. But I can't say that it's just so happens at this time that that's where I am. That's the space, a place that I am in. And I did want to say before I even began, my condolences to you and your family for the passing of your dad. And we've all exchanged condolences with you. But it's continuous, it's continuous. So because the pain is still there, the hurt is still there. So we must continue to, express our condolences and recognize that this has happened, and it's a part of your life, part of who you are. So there'll always be, prayers over you for healing and comfort and all of those things, because it's a big part of your life, and that's something that you've had to face and go through, you and your mom and the rest of your family. So and so many others. Just as you said, there's so many who have had to bury their parents, bury their children. This has just been such a hard. I don't think, it's just been a really rough, hard, and traumatizing period for so many reasons, so many varying reasons, and things that have happened. And it's just, you know, is traumatic to everybody. Some more than others, of course, depending on how close you are and all of those things. But who cares? Who cares? We're all going through some rough stuff. Could be financially, could be, I don't know, mentally, emotionally, and just like you said, that was another. Just like you said about being separated isn't hasn't been the best for some people. It has really been detrimental for a lot of people to have to be separated from others, or because they were working on not being distant, because it was such a bad, because it's a negative thing. They need to be with people. So this has really, it really driven people into a dark place, or darker places than they even were in the first place, trying to get the help that they need and things like that. But that's what is so important, to continue to reach out, continue to check on people, continue to make phone calls, whatever it is that you do, and you're texting and calling and FaceTiming and all of these different ways. There's so many ways to get in touch with people. Reach out, and reach out to those. And that was another thing that I had to keep going with, the Surrender to Love devotional. There were many times I didn't want to do it, because it was just hard, and it was hard. Like, after watching kids get I'm saying the word electrocuted is in my mind, but that's not it. But tased, and all of these things are happening, and I look. I swear to you, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to come before the virtual world and share the word of God and be all, yes, God. It's like, no, I don't want to do it, but I had to, because there was somebody who needed prayer, or who needed that particular devotional. And even if they didn't need it that day, there will come a day that they'll be able to go to Chat with Cat, or they'll go to wherever you can find it and look it up and get the word that they need. And I wasn't the only one doing it. It was so many people. And that was the awesome thing too, that I found out, that I looked and saw that so many people were sharing the word, so many people were praying. Yeah, so God moves, and He does things all in His time. I have no idea, and I have stopped trying to figure it out myself. I have stopped trying to figure it out. But um Yeah, this whole thing, it's just been so hard for everybody. Your mental health is so important, you guys. It's so important. Stay connected.
Yes, yes, and being connected and not losing that is very important. Maintaining that is very important, and that's essentially what it's all about. What this pandemic, I think, is supposed to teach us all about. So, before we wrap up the show, so what can people expect for Chat with Kat this fall, and what are your last words that you can say about our topic for this evening?
Okay. On Chat with Cat, I will say, Chat with Cat and Friends, a wellness network. There will be more videos and content on my channel, because wellness is an everyday thing. I won't be posting every day, but there'll be new content at least 2 to 3 times a week. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Chat with Cat and Friends. Subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified every time a video is uploaded. Because it's mostly in between my interviews on Monday, there will be wellness videos uploaded. And even wellness to me, it incorporates all of who you are. Whether you're, I don't know, whether you're out shopping, those things help you feel well. Whether you're shopping, whether you're talking to someone, whether you discovered something new about something, I don't know, whether you've received great customer service, that goes into your wellness too, because that helps you to, treat people accordingly. We vibe off each other, whether we want to admit it or not. But those are some of the things that you can look forward to upcoming on Chat with Kat. As far as interviews, same great interviews. I would love to like go on location maybe sometimes. There'll be some impromptu interviews coming up. Those are some things that I'm looking forward to. Just been going around in my so yeah, just some impromptu interviews. Hey, look, I'm here and this is, just like that. Because it's important. You guys, we do so many amazing things. And we're so skilled, gifted, and talented in so many areas. And of course, I won't be able to touch them all. So as I hear about them or as I'm connected to them, there that is what I'm going to do, is to shout them out and highlight them, bring them on as much as possible that I can. And if we're not making the connection, then I'll be telling you about it myself. I'll be telling you about it myself and hopefully having the individual on. So there'll be more great interviews. Letting you know of events that are coming up, especially of those who have been on Chat with Cat with Friends. Support. I'm all about support. So that's what Chat with Cat and Friends, a wellness network. That's what you can look forward to. More spots on just upcoming events with people and more great interviews. That's what I'll be having.
Well, yes, that all sounds awesome. I would like to thank you for joining me and taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and join me, for another edition of the Beauty in Us Radio right here on Awesome Guy Radio. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning in as well. Make sure that you subscribe to Awesome Guy Radio on all of the social media platforms, and make sure that you tune into everybody. Everybody's coming back this fall with some new content and with new guests and with new things to share each and every week. So it's really, really important, like we said tonight, to stay connected and to cherish people while they're here, and to tell them and show them how much you love and care about them. So make an appointment to meet me back here at 6 p.m. on September 14th of 2021. So again, this is the Beauty in Us Radio right here on Awesome Guy Radio. I will see
Now,
you all next week.
bye everyone.